How's it going, guys? So the other day I was browsing YouTube just looking for a few funny videos, some content to watch, and I came across this video. And my first thought was they've officially run out of superhero ideas. This is Aquaman's sequel. But no. First thought was, holy crap, this guy must pee 100 times a day. But then I was thinking, is this even possible? Because I know that there's such a thing as water intoxication, and I feel like if you drank 5 gallons of water a day, that would probably do it. And then I was like, how long has this guy had to live with this? So let's just get into the video and see if we can get some gosh darn answers.
Set amongst the forested hills and natural beauty of northwest Germany lies the medieval city of Bielefeld. It's home to 36-year-old architect and tour guide Mark Wubenhorst.
I mean, he seems to be doing all right. He's an architect and a tour guide. Tour guide's the unsung hero of the tourist industry, if I do say so myself.
He may look healthy, but he suffers from one of the world's rarest conditions.
Did you see how aggressive that was? And then he just stood there and like stared that fucking water down like he knew he was about to make it his. To be fair, he probably is. But still, that was an aggressive door swing there. That was like...
This is a lot of water to many others, but to me it's only the water for 1 month. So it's 500 liters, I would say. So
seeing all the water in this shed like this and hearing how quickly he goes through it, I immediately thought of that scene from This Is the End, the Seth Rogen and James Franco movie, and Danny McBride, where they are trying to ration out the water and Danny McBride takes it and just starts to dump it all over himself. And they all get pissed off because that's their ration of water that they have to try to make last. And so I immediately thought this guy would be terrible to be stuck in an apocalyptic bunker with, trying to ration out your food, because he needs more water than anyone else. He's top 5 of the worst people that you'd want to be stuck with. Like, number 1 is the guy who is living in the past and brings up the high school glory days constantly. Number 2 is someone with like IBS, because I mean, it's the apocalypse. Toilets aren't going to flush forever. I don't know, gravity, they might. Number 3, someone with a gluten allergy. We get it. You were born with it. Number 4, just the stereotypical person in every movie that falls anytime you have to make a run for it. That's just helpless. So yeah, there are 4. And then this guy, because he's got to drink all of the water and you don't get anything. But like, still, I don't understand how this is like even a thing. Like, how is this possible? How does his body manage to do this?
It all started back when Mark's mother noticed that he was always thirsty and would constantly urinate, and she became worried and took him for some tests. Mark was born with an inherited, incurable, and life-threatening disorder.
He's always been like this. He's grown up like this. This wasn't just a peanut allergy that he developed when he was 26 and can no longer eat the most delicious candy known to mankind. It's Reese's. If you say anything else, you're wrong. Google it. It's a fact.
After 1.5 hours, I will feel extreme thirst. Then my lips get dry, and the thirst I feel is like very intense.
Yeah, that sounds pretty miserable. At first I was like calling BS, but now I feel bad for the guy. I genuinely feel bad for the guy.
I will get very high fever and dizziness, can't remember things, and I do not know in extreme where I am and who I am.
He essentially just described like when you wake up after a long night out and you've had a few too many drinks and you stayed up entirely too late and you just wake up like, what year is it? And just sprint to the kitchen and grab the largest cup you can find and fill it up with water. And he's perpetually in that state. That sounds miserable. I would never want to live that life.
Mark suffers from an incredibly rare disorder known as renal diabetes insipidus, or nephrogenic diabetes insipidus.
Okay, well, there we go. Medically, I guess that's what it is. So I will spare you all the medical terminology and the amazing anatomy graphics that they show of certain body parts that you can imagine they would show. It essentially is saying that his kidneys do not send the right signals to other body parts that they should absorb the water. Instead, they just it bypasses everything and then comes out.
I need water every 1.5 hours, and I need to go to the toilet maybe 1.5 hours. So sometimes I use the tree, sometimes the toilet. So you can say, okay, maybe it's 20 times a day or 18 times.
There we go. The main question that I had was just answered. And he said roughly he goes to the bathroom 20 times a day. And he wakes up at the least every 3 hours when he's sleeping to go to the bathroom. So he essentially goes to the bathroom once an hour. That might not sound terrible, but that's miserable if you're traveling or if you're trying to do anything.
I'm going to see Dr. Sprengner, who is an expert in all the stuff which has to do with kidneys. I hope he has some new answers to old questions.
Okay, that's good. He's going to go see a specialist and hopefully get some help. Fingers crossed for my guy. Let's get this thing figured out.
So what can I do for you today?
My GP
Yeah?
in Bielefeld told me that diuretics could be useful for me.
What? Are you kidding me?
But in your situation, there is a dramatic increased excretion of water, so about 20 liters per day. Usually takes about 1 to 2 weeks to see whether there is an effect or not.
So he's well into his adult life now, living with this his whole life, and he said that his normal doctor told him to give diuretics a try. And then the specialist said, yeah, give it a shot. I would be so pissed. He's lived this way his whole life, and all he had to do was take some freaking X-Lax? What? Why didn't a doctor find that out sooner? There's no telling. I don't know how much medical bills cost in this country, but I know it ain't cheap. I know it's not cheap. And he probably could have saved himself a ton, not to mention he would have to go to the bathroom 100% less. That's crazy.
A few weeks later, the diuretics seem to be working. Mark doesn't wake up in the night to go to the toilet as often as he used to. He's less tired and now has enough energy to pursue his hobbies and a social life.
Long story short, they're working for my guy. So, hey, props to him. I mean, it's crazy that that's what it took was just diuretics and he'd stop pissing all the time. But whatever, if it worked, if he's happy, I'm happy. So, good on you, man. Keep on keeping on. I know I made a lot of jokes in this video. To be honest, when I first came across it, I thought it was maybe some BS that TLC was pushing because I know they have a lot of questionable content on their page. But it seemed legit and he seemed to be like having trouble, and I'm glad he figured it out and seems to be living a pretty normal life at this point. Hey, congrats, man. Glad you got it figured out. But that's it for this video, guys. It's been fun, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.